What's up, everybody? We are back in some more Wayfinder. Today we're going to be going through Kyros and his different abilities, and we're going to talk about a little bit of astigmatism with this game, which is going to end up being the fact that there is literally a pay-to-win stronger version of this character, which I kind of find funny. If we end up actually hovering over heroic Kyros, you can see that his stats are just outright better. He's going to have an extra echo slot, which is basically just increased mod capacity, and yeah, he's just overall better than default Kyros. Now, my feedback, at least with the version of the game that I'm running right now, which is before the game's release and before the day one patch, is that basic Kyros feels weak. And the pay-to-win Kyros kind of just feels more like a functional character. So I don't know if they did that on purpose, where they wanted to make the base Kyros feel weak so that the paid version felt stronger, but it just, I don't know. Anyways, let's just move on to his abilities and never mind the politics of it all. His first ability, Savage Rake, which sounds hilarious. Rakes the ground with violent energy, dealing damage to all enemies in front of Kyros. Arcane fragments can be consumed to cast Savage Rake without using an ability charge. Siphon Radiant releases a wave of energy around Kyros that damages enemies and absorbs arcane power, reducing cooldowns and granting an arcane fragment. Arcane Focus marks enemies in the immediate area. Mark increases in power as the marked target is hit. After reaching max power or after 8 seconds, the mark explodes, dealing damage based on the power of the mark. Hand of Reckoning deals massive damage to enemies in a large radius around Kyros. His passive ability, Arcane Fragments. Arcane Fragments grant extra charges of Savage Rake. Generate Arcane Fragments by using Siphon Radiant on enemies, landing combo finishers, and from various ability upgrades. His passive archetype, Innervation Orbs. Defeating enemies has a chance to spawn an Innervation Orb, which can be consumed by the Arcanist or their allies to increase ability power. And Blink. Arcanists benefit from the largest invincibility window when dodging attacks with their blink, and also travel and increase distance. Now let's move on to the style of the guy, which I think looks absolutely awesome. He's got lots of different looks to him and kind of just has that swag to him that could end up being quite meme worthy. There is going to end up being some of his costumes that are going to end up being out of the cash shop specifically. Now, if we look at the heroic version of Kyros, which this is the pay-to-win version, you can only get this out of the $150 Founders Pack. You can see all of his abilities are the exact same. So what's the big difference about him? Well, he's got this extra echo slot, which doesn't really matter too much because echo capacity is a thing in this game. And yeah, that's all there really is to it. I mean, he does have some really swag customization though, because you obviously get this extra head, which looks great. And then more particularly, you get the actual like different body type. So you can have the one where it's kind of all glowy and a mouth, or you can just use the base Kyros, which I like using the base Kyros because I think that this style just looks so cool.